Okay, so I have some things I wanted to share, particularly at this moment. And y'all have heard it 5,000 times before, and you will continue to hear it because that's what Mama and them, Spirit, my practice has given me. I want to start with a disclaimer because I'm going to be talking about the need for a community, this calling in. And so many of us have been hurt in our search for a place of community, whether it's family systems or places where people are supposed to be like us. Lama Rod Owens, a teacher, says, in his homecomings, a place where we are loved and most importantly feel free to love. Not talking about utopia, but a place of realness that invites authenticity and acceptance. And we've been hurt in those places. And so even of us who are in this practice for a while, we begin to curate. We create this culture of mindfulness that is not so much mindful as it is careful. And so what that has meant is that we have another place where, coming out of my culture, we're code switching. We're not being ourselves. For those of you that don't know what code switching is, I speak from my diaphragm. You're hearing the real me. But in my work life, I moved my sound up became more nasal. It also became language choices that I thought people around me that had the ability to affect my money, my life conditions, my benefits would be acceptable. And I get that because I can't pay anybody's rent and mortgage. So do what you got to do. Real talk. But I believe the power of these spaces can be a place where we can be ourselves. And I want to call out the primary goal of Heartwidth. We take the words of Martin Luther King Jr. Our goal is to create a beloved community, and that will require a qualitative change in our souls and a quantitative change in our lives. And what that means in terms of a community. First of all, we got to define community, right? I'm a retired preschool teacher, so let me do the hand thing. This is community. This is association. Neither are bad, but to use language for this when we're doing this hurts and harms a lot of people. The difficulty of this is that on some level, you're going to have the courage, I'm going to have the courage to be known. For many of us, choosing to be known has been a place of loss. I liked you when you were smiling at me when I told you that you were wretched and wrong. I liked you when you worked those 12 hours a day and didn't even get paid for overtime. I will reward you, support your notion of safety when I do that to you and you smile and don't get that overtime that you're supposed to get. I will love you if you sit still. Some of us as children, you know, if you sit still and don't make no noise. And so those life has taught us lessons. Even in these spaces, we've been taught these lessons. They're false lessons, but we want community. So I'm going to wrap myself in another bodhisattva of our time, Thich Nhat Hanh, who says the essence of Sangha is awareness, understanding, acceptance, harmony. I change harmony to connection because often harmony is weaponized to be compliance and love. When you do not see these in a community, it is not a true Sangha, and you should have the courage to say so. Because why? Because we need community. Our hearts need community. Our bodies need community. We got to have some place to cry, to laugh, to say fuck whoever we need to say fuck to say, yep, I'm feeling like shit for 237 days in a row. And people don't go, but. I say this because, first of all, I want to center the Black and brown people here because it is, and for those of you who are from West Asia, aka Europe, the people from there, that this newness, this constant discovering that the world is on fire hits hard. You know, it hits like you haven't been listening to us. And so I do want to center that because it's a second and third and 15th arrow. At least it is for me and the people, often the people I rock with in the BIPOC spaces. And the delusion of separation is why we are in this mess. I'm in North Dakota and I don't hear Spanish from no place, no way, but I want a wall because that'll make me feel better. I think women talk too goddamn much because my mother didn't love me the way I wanted her to love me, so I'm gonna. The delusion of separation, because we not separate. And so I want to call in a day that a man that got killed because he was trying to have us be together. Some of you may have lived long enough or read enough books to know talk and hate don't get you killed in this country. What will get you killed is talking about being together, unity. That'll get you killed. The concern about King is that the fear that he would unite the civil rights movement and the peace movement. That was the fear. His fear toward the end is that he had integrated his people into a burning building. But we here. The Lotus Sutra talks about the story of children being in a house and the house is on fire. And the father basically bribes them and says, oh yeah, come outside, you got toys. You can have toys if you come outside. And that's the only way he can get them to go outside because they don't know they're in danger. We're not children. And I want all of us, this is a practice that calls us to have some spiritual maturity, to stop playing with ourselves and each other. It is not a call to be better. I am not calling anybody out of their capacity because that can be a way we try not to be with things. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying don't play. Don't look at all these black people with all these different colored complexions and think that our ancestors found love on the plantation. Don't do that. Don't look at women, even the ones in suits. Most of us have had an opportunity to experience sexual violence. The first calling in, and it's not a calling out is judgment. Look at what you did wrong. I think Loretta Ross is the sister that brought that in beautifully. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It's not a calling out, even for ourselves, right? If you hadn't wore that skirt, if you hadn't met that guy or girl, if you hadn't been at that club, what happened to you? It's not a calling out, but it's a calling in to say that happened. It's not to lay in it, it's just to bring awareness. Yeah, that happened. Is it happening now? No, it's not. But the calling in is that recognition. And to understand, as I have continued to distill the wisdom of my lineage, ain't nothing wrong, it's just life. Ask the women in India. Ask the ones in Serbia and Croatia. Ask the ones. It's time for us. We have tried as much as we can try and make it. I will call in. Many of you have heard this story, but I'm always going to repeat it. In fact, I'm going to be repeating it at a group tomorrow, my grandmother's bathroom story. Because part of being grown, spiritual maturity, is to be able to recognize where you at. So mama was in the bathroom and having a marvelous bowel movement. Those of you who've been rocking with me, I'm about that life, because mama was about that life. And she came out of the bathroom and the woman sniffed at her and said, basically, you nasty. And my grandmother, because she was a powerful being, said, Miss, this is a shit house, not a perfume factory. And if you heard shit and went, yeah, work on that, please. Because if you don't, there are people in hospitals that would like to suffer your distaste of what is absolutely necessary for us to survive. I bring that up because community is messy. It doesn't have to be far harmful, but it will be messy. And this practice wants to call us to be in the messiness and have the discernment to move away from that which is going to harm us without villainizing the situation. It calls into fluidity. This is not a static approach. And by the way, your meditation practice does not mean sitting down. If some of you had to go to the bathroom while I was guiding, you would show powerful practice to go to the bathroom. It can be cooking. As you say, breathing in, I am not breathing in, breathing out, I am not breathing out. There can be, for me, there's fetishizing stuff, quiet. My practice developed in the Soweto part of town, and that was a gift. If you have been led to believe that this practice needs quiet, I'm going to disagree with whoever told you that. Silence is available. Always. But quiet, well, quiet can be like Jason walking through the halls. It does not necessarily serve. I mean, it can be nice if you want that, but to demand that you need to have it is a setup. Part of the calling in has to be the practice of knowing that you are precious. Not that I'm precious. I am, but yeah. Not that a teacher is precious. Not that a book is precious. You're precious. And it is a horrible, horrible slight that even as we are children, we don't get that lesson. I know as a Black girl, I was told I was of utility. I was smart, I could help people, and I was loved because I was smart and I could help people. My grandmother knew I was precious, and my mother, as best they could, because they weren't told they were precious. You don't look like the women in the magazine look. And I want to speak to some of my West Asian sisters. You don't look like the girls in the magazine look either. So, just saying. But particularly for those of us, and we don't even learn that we're precious. We cannot have community if you think you are worthless. Because either you're going to think I'm worthless too, you're going to criticize me, or you're going to curate yourself in such a way. You're going to curate yourself in such a way to work on your ability to be fake. That's self harm. That is no different than cutting. I think it's so interesting that we like to categorize things. You know, cutting, we gonna do. Something needs to be done. You've been talking shit to yourself. I just need to do better. I just need to be. That's self harm. That is utilized to control us. Carter G. Woodson in The Miseducation of the Negro said, you can be trained in such a way. In the South, Black people always had to go in the back of places. In the North, too. The North is just smoother with their shit. Real talk. Some of y'all born North, y'all know how that went when y'all was growing up. And he said, you can be trained in such a way that you'll go to the back, and if there is no door in the back, you will build a door in the back. This practice is calling us to understand that it's everything. Kendrick Lamar's "I Deserve It All." And that's not ego. We here. We deserve it all. And not in that bombastic, they try to make stuff that's what's good for us seem selfish or not. If you deserve it all, I deserve it all. If you love you can love me. Many of us in this room have tried to love other people when we didn't love ourselves. How did that work out? Including children. How did that work out for us? this is serious. You know, I mean, I'm not new to America's game, but there may be some of you, you know, there may be some folks, GS-13s working at EPA may not have a job next year or later this year, you know, that thought they were okay. And they may come to you and say, the world is on fire. And I'm encouraging us to say to the world, yes, it's been on fire. You just didn't notice. And the move is not to be on Facebook writing treatises about stuff that's been going on this continent. Certainly for my folks since 1619. Other folks, I mean, and human beings is sketchy anyway. I mean, we do the stuff we do, but I'm just talking about different points. You know, if you're a woman, since since the patriarchy won, you know, that men, instead of becoming protectors, became, controllers. And it's time to stop playing, to find out a community. I say this all the time, your grits and groceries community. Who you gonna get $5 from to get some rice? And some beans. Who's gonna come change your diaper? I came out of a community of people that ran through kindergarten and did that shit, so I know that is possible. If you understand that if you're blessed, you're gonna get old. Your body is gonna do what it's gonna do. To understand that the youngest, sweetest, more effervescent child you see will meet us all in the afterlife. That everything is impermanent, including people's regard to you. If there's any parents here, any people who love somebody and they looked at you and said, you ain't done shit for me. And that we living through our choices. Those are 5 remembrances that come out of the Buddhist path, which is an Asian portal of wisdom that meets all the other portals of wisdom. You got to find those people near you. I love the interwebs. It's sweet. But what we gonna do when the electricity goes off? And America don't do infrastructure. You got to, particularly those of us online, this practice is to support the courage to reach out, yes, to each other, but to smile at the snagger-tooth person next door who may smoke drink, but they're going to give you a sandwich if you're hungry. As opposed to somebody that, graduated from I Am Smart U and is afraid of your circumstances, is afraid that, oh, you having money problems. If I be with you, I might get money problems. If you're having health problems, if I hang with you, I might have health problems. It's going to be contagious because that's what the society encourages us to do. We cannot simultaneously say, oh no, he's back. And it's horrible and it's going to be terrible and don't do anything about it. My grandfather ran an extension cord from his house because he had one of them good government jobs at the printing office through other people's houses so they could have electricity. We got to be about that life. Is there people that you say, let's cook together. We can make some soup and everybody can take out a jar of soup. We're going to buy toilet paper together at Costco. This practice is not for the smart. A lot of people that end up in these spaces have ran through class or two, me too. But that's not what it's for. It's to be with what is, to know where you are, and in this moment to find people that can rock with you when you sit. Because we all sick. We all got stuff going on. We need that. That's not something to practice ourselves out of. And I don't know everybody's situation. I know everybody is not in an environment. I am in the flyest LGBTQIA plus XYZ house. My girls and people downstairs went to the grocery store in my car and brought me groceries back. I know everybody ain't got it like that. But can we get with it like that? And use this platform to say, look, so-and-so needs $15. Not acting out of your capacity. This ain't the church as I've seen where, preachers want your money. They're doing 5 collections. We're not talking about that. Trust each other the way we trust this system that don't give a fuck about us. Because I know that's an edge for a lot of us, to deal with each other, support each other. Somebody asks for something. And in my experience, the people that have the most stuff can be most often afraid. And I get it, kind of. But we passed that now. The time for that has come and it has gone. And if you want to write treatises on Facebook, you grown, that's your business. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, if you have some time, you might want to see which of your neighbors can say hello without flinching. That y'all might want to gather when the electricity goes off. This is the calling in. Nothing as bad is happening that hasn't already happened. Ask folks on these reservations. It's been happening. Ask the 65,000 plus indigenous women. We don't know where they at. They gone. I don't know. We're not checking on them. They just. Whoop. But most of all, it's the calling in to stop playing. Not to do anything, but don't be looking at black people with hazel eyes like, oh, that's so attractive. Don't be looking like at these girls on the corners like, how did that happen? Because for me, I know I could be on that corner. I came very close to being on that corner. It's the calling into ourselves and accepting that complexity and the joy of it and the horror of it and saying, yeah, that's what yeah, that shit happened. That time I got evicted. Yeah. And know that ain't nothing wrong. It's a human experience. That's all. To take the edge off so we can be together. So somebody can fart in the room and people don't go, ugh. So we can come after the starting time and know, and I come out of a culture, as long as you show up, nothing is wrong. In fact, if we hear, you hear. So it's still all good. We are human beings who require the connection with other human beings. I don't give a fuck if you call yourself an introvert. Now, being an introvert has nothing to do with being outside of the tribe, the lineage of love and care. I talk about this in terms of concentric circles. Some of us are about that close to the fire life sometimes, yap. And some of us, mostly, we like to be in them outer circles, chilling, maybe saying a word or two, looking at the folks near the fire being extra. looking at the other introverts and saying, yeah, no, they all, but we are all warmed by the same fire. Don't let these people put languages in our mouths that divorce us from each other. Because that's the move, inviting us into their delusion. Understanding that what we have influence and control over and what we don't. And most of us don't have. You know, the folks that had flowers for Ukraine, they still there getting bombed and killed. Haiti, Venezuela, basically human beings. That samsara is for us too. We don't get to escape the horrors of this world. The horror is that we often take our individual situations and not understanding their general. So we're going to seek protection. So I will end with this, Our True Heritage by Thich Nhat Hanh. Before I do that, because I don't know who needs to leave when, the Heartwidth community is institutionalizing prayer. What that means is we're calling folks to make part of their practice praying for everyone in this community. Put something on the altar, but also generally, because prayer is powerful. Whatever that is for you. Don't hear prayer and think Christianity unless that calls to you. But there is an energy that's needed in this world. And not just fighting people who believe that they are the reason the sun rose this morning. So, calling in us that when we get awake in the morning and know we made it to another day, calling in prayer for ourselves and each other, particularly in people in your house, in your building, the ones that get on your nerves, including the people you may be sleeping next to. You know, prayer for all of us. I believe that's why I'm here. I know a bunch of people prayed for me and still praying for me. And I'm asking y'all prayers as I go in and try to talk to people who are newly afraid, some of whom are newly afraid. So this is Our True Heritage by Thich Nhat Hanh. The cosmos is filled with precious gems. I want to offer a handful of them to you this morning. Each moment you are alive is a gem, shining through the containing earth and sky, water and clouds. It needs you to breathe gently for the miracles to be displayed. Suddenly you hear the birds singing, the pines chanting, see the flowers blooming, the blue sky, the white clouds, the smile and the marvelous look of your beloved. You, the richest person on earth, who have been going around begging for a living. Stop being the destitute child. Come back and claim your heritage. We should enjoy our happiness and offer it to everyone. Cherish this very moment. Let go of the stream of distress and embrace life fully in your arms. Thank you for allowing me to share what's on my heart. Ayesha, bowing out.